as Latifi crosses the line, goes 15th, pushes Kevin Magnussen into the bottom 5. Esteban Ocon goes 3rd fastest. What a leap up that was. Latifi is knocked out of qualifying in Q1. Giovinazzi hasn't got out of Q1 so far this season. He's currently 14th as Ricciardo goes 4th, just behind his teammate Esteban Ocon. Grosjean now gets himself out of the bottom 5, pushes Giovinazzi to the driver at risk status. Lando Norris goes 6th. They're all jumping way up the timing sheets here as we look to Kevin Magnussen to try and get his hats out of the bottom 5. He can't quite do it, and he's 17th, so Giovinazzi is hanging on by the skin of his teeth. Danny Kvyat will be next across the line in the AlphaTauri. Here comes Kvyat in his home race. He qualified 5th once upon a time. He's 3rd fastest in this qualifying session so far. Sebastian Vettel's in the bottom 5, but not for much longer. Giovinazzi's knocked out again in Q1. Sebastian Vettel is through, and he's 11th as Lance Stroll crosses the line and goes 8th fastest. George Russell is into the bottom 5, but he is still out on the track and will be crossing the line soon. Verstappen goes 5th. We look now to Pierre Gasly, who went out in Q1 2 weeks ago, and he's safely through to Q2 this time around. Alex Albon looks to be safe. He goes 11th just to give himself a bit more breathing space, and here comes George Russell. Is it Q2 for Russell? It is Q2 for George Russell. He's done it again. He's out-qualified his teammate, and he's put the Williams into the next part of qualifying.
But Vettel on the cusp, just about sneaking through, as he did last time out in Mugello.
Lewis Hamilton has had his lap time deleted for going off the track at turn 18. There was a second difference between himself and Valtteri Bottas. Lewis Hamilton has absolutely aced that middle sector with a 31.5, so he's now ahead of his teammate 2/3 of a way through this. Oh no, that is Sebastian Vettel, and that is going to bring an end to proceedings for all those drivers, and a red flag has now cost Lewis Hamilton a chance of getting into Q3.
He will be able to make it, Crofty, but to your point, he will have to go a lot quicker than he would like. The line was fine, but he just ran out of grip. Clearly, the rear of the car didn't stick with him.
Need to go, need to go, need to go.
There's Hamilton, 3, 2, 1. Has he made it? I'll tell you, he has. Looking at the clock, Hamilton's not setting personal best in any way, shape or form. This does not look good for him. Ocon is 9th, Leclerc is 10th, the driver at risk is Danny Kvyat. Hamilton goes 4th fastest, 6/10 off Daniel Ricciardo, but he won't give a hoot about that. But he goes 4th fastest and does manage to get himself into Q3. Whoa, wow. That was close.
I'd love to know with how much time remaining did Lewis cross the line to start that lap. It couldn't have been over a second.
Less than a second.
Yeah. Daniel Ricciardo, he'll now chuck it into the last couple of corners. Got to make sure that the exit is nice and clean here. Don't want to go beyond the track limits, and he keeps it well inside. A 32.3, a very strong opening lap.
Not quicker than his best lap in Q2, but very much quicker than his teammate and Pierre Gasly as well. Carlos Sainz with a 1:33.1 goes 2nd fastest. Here comes Lando Norris, 5th fastest for him, and Lewis Hamilton is setting purple through the first 2 sectors and looking good to bag provisional pole here, as his teammate Valtteri Bottas beats Daniel Ricciardo by a couple of tenths of a second. Hamilton now round the final corner would dearly like another pole here to add to the one he got in 2014, and does take provisional pole with a 1:31.3.
You know, I was saying about mental strength and having to put the past behind you. I think he's managed to do that.
By about 7/10 of a second on his teammate at the moment. Sergio Perez goes 4th fastest. He's had a habit of starting 4th, hasn't he? 3 times this season he started 4th fastest, 8 times in his career without ever being in the top 3, and he's not actually 4th anymore because Max Verstappen, who made a small mistake, goes 3rd fastest overall.
Through turn 10, onto the back straight now. Hamilton is up
by 0.2 of a second, near enough on Valtteri Bottas on this lap, but going faster than Hamilton managed on his previous best, which was good enough for provisional pole. And through those medium speed corners in the middle sector, Valtteri Bottas has lost yet more time, and his chances of another pole position here to add to the one that he got in 2018 are fading very, very fast. Max Verstappen will keep out of the way. He is yet to start his final flying lap as Valtteri Bottas giving it absolutely everything and knowing that he's down on his deltas, he's down on his sector times, and he hasn't improved. He knows now that he's going to have to settle for another second place on the grid.
So it's Bottas second at best. Hamilton at least half a second in front. Let's have a look at what this lap does.
Hamilton improves. Hamilton improves. He has got pole position, of that there is no doubt. Here at Sochi this year, it's Pierre Gasly, 7th fastest for him. That'll be decent if it stays there. It doesn't. Lando Norris beats him and is in the top 7 after missing out in the top 10 in Mugello. Here comes Daniel Ricciardo, can't improve. He's currently 4th fastest, which would still be the best he's ever had here in Sochi.
Verstappen has matched Bottas in Sector 1, Crofty.
Carlos Sainz then goes 6th fastest, ahead then of his teammate Lando Norris. Once again, Sainz is the top driver in the McLaren stable. Sergio Perez crosses the line, goes 3rd fastest, and ahead then of Max Verstappen. Perez never started in the top 3 before, has put himself right in the mix. Alex Albon will start 10th fastest for the Russian Grand Prix. Verstappen's on the front row, never been on the front row here in Sochi before, has relegated Valtteri Bottas down to 3rd. Mercedes don't have the front row lockout that everyone was expecting. Lewis Hamilton on pole in Formula One for the 96th time, and the weekend that he's aiming to equal Michael Schumacher's record. He's given himself the best possible chance of doing so.